All right, welcome back. We are continuing Exeter after the absolutely chaotic scene that unfolded with the cult and the death of one of the betrayers, Kalen's team. So now we are going to continue the aftermath, as it says here. So I also reminded the AI to keep the event details shorter to save space because, again, the context window is only so much. Though it's impressive, it is slowing down 4.0. So here's where we left off, or continue on.
Ritual chamber aftermath, around 6:35 p.m. The chamber is in ruins, the emberstone shattered and flickering faintly. Kalen and Lareth, battered and bloodied, lean against the broken altar, their expressions a mix of anger and desperation. Brock and Mars stand firm, with the beast growling softly at Brock's side. Kalen glares at them. "You've ruined everything," she spits. "You don't even know what you've destroyed." Brock steps closer, his voice cold. "Then, tell us, what was so important about the emberstone?" Mars remains steady, his tone sharp. "One chance, Kalen, no more games. Options: 1. Interrogate Kalen and Lareth. 2. Investigate the Emberstone's fragments. 3. Deal with Kalen and Lareth's fate." What's the group's decision?
Okay, so we can learn a little bit more about Kalen and Laird's true intentions here, but I also have something in mind that can cause a little more chaos to continue, as things are fairly calm at the moment. Let's see what to do first. Let's try interrogate. Mars will interrogate Kalen and Lareth, while Brock remains steady with his weapon in case they make any moves. Won't interrogate? No. Will interrogate. Okay, that's better. This might require a skill check, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Ritual chamber. Time of day, around 6:40 p.m. Mars steps forward, his voice calm but firm. "Start talking. Why was the Emberstone so important to you, and what were you planning to do with it? If we're still alive after everything you've done, you owe us the truth." Kalen scowls, clutching her side. "The Emberstone was power, pure, unbridled power. With it, we could have shaped our future. Instead, you shattered it, like fools who don't understand what they had." Lareth coughs weakly, his voice strained. "It wasn't just power. The Emberstone, it wasn't meant for this world. That's why the cult wanted it, why they were performing the ritual, to bind it to something or someone." Options for Mars. 1. Press for details about the cult and their ritual. 2. Focus on Kalen and Lareth's plans for the Emberstone. 3. Shift focus to the fragments of the Emberstone to investigate further. What does Mars ask next?
Mars will press for details about the cult and the ritual. Any skill check for this? Oh, I need my character sheets. Almost forgot to open my two character sheets this whole time, so which works out because it's still prompting. There we go. That's the speed we typically want.
Ritual chamber, pressing for details. Time of day, around 6:45 p.m. Mars narrows his eyes, his tone sharp. "What was the cult planning? That ritual wasn't just for show, and you know it. Tell me why they needed the Emberstone and what they were trying to do." Kalen hesitates, her defiance faltering as she glances at Lareth. "The cult wanted to use the Emberstone to awaken something, something buried here in the vault. A guardian, a weapon. I don't know exactly what, but they believed it would make them unstoppable." Lareth grimaces, adding weakly, "We thought we could take it for ourselves before they succeeded. Use its power to reshape things. But it's too late now." Skill check. Mars can roll. Inside DC 13 to determine if they're withholding information or lying. Let me know the result.
Nice, 21. Mars rolled a 21 for insight, while Brock smirks and says, well, it looks like we just saved the world. Better broken than in the hands of the bad. Or let's say in the hands of fools like you both. There we go. The shortcut key I usually press to talk and then automatically send it, it is not working. I don't know if it's because the Chrome extension requires a subscription service for it, but it's doing its job as far as just, speech to text, and that's fine. And plus, I can make edits before it sends it, so maybe that's, it's manageable. Let's see.
Ritual chamber. Interrogation results. Time of day, around 6:50 p.m. Mars's insight roll 21, success. Mars studies Kalen and Lareth closely, catching the subtle shifts in their expressions. They're telling the truth about the cult's plans and their intention to steal the Emberstone, but there's something they're not saying. A deeper motive lingers beneath their words. Something personal. Kalen flinches at Brock's sharp words, her glare hardening. Save the world? You have no idea what you've done. That stone wasn't just power, it was hope. A way to set things right. But you broke it, and now... Her voice falters, and she looks away. Lareth exhales, his gaze distant. We weren't just in this for power, we were in it for revenge, against those who took everything from us. Options. 1. Press further about their personal motives. 2. Shift focus to the cult's plans for the vault. Investigate the Emberstone fragments for lingering power. What does Mars do next?
Let's see. I feel like quoting the Fallout show, which if I can recall how it's said, let's see. Mars stands up confidently with his hands behind his side. Let's see. Hands on his side and says, "We all try to save the world somehow, but we can never agree on how." That's kind of what they say in the show, I think. I don't believe that's from the game. I think it's originally in the show. I played Fallout my whole life, but not past uh, New Vegas. I haven't played the new four or even like that little app game where you have the vault itself, but I don't know if that's actually from the game. It's just something they use for the show. But still, whether or not, if you guys want to quote me on or correct me on that, it's still a great saying.
Ritual chamber. Reflection amid chaos. Time of day around 6:55 p.m. Mars straightens, and his hands resting at his sides, his voice steady and sharp. We all try to save the world somehow, he says, his tone carrying weight. But we can never agree on how. That's the problem, isn't it? Everyone thinks their way is the only way. Kalen glares at him, but her defiance falters under the
Ah,
truth of
it
his
worked.
words. Lareth looks down, his hands trembling as the weight of their failure settles over him. The silence in the chamber is heavy, broken only by the faint crackling of embers. Brock smirks, resting his great axe against his shoulder. Well, the world's still here, and you're still breathing. You should thank us for that. The beast at Brock's side growls softly, its glowing eyes fixed on Kalen and Lareth, as if waiting for a command. Options. 1. Press Kalen for the truth about her personal motives. 2. Shift focus to the cult's plans and the vault's secrets. 3. End the confrontation and leave Kalen and Lareth behind. What does Mars or Brock decide next?
Oh, let's see. Brock notices the beast, his pet, is becoming very impatient. Mars looks to Brock, telling him to settle down his pet, then looks back to Kalen and Lareth, telling them that they're going to go, but they better not follow. So I just turned off memory because it was logging everything. If I sneeze or take a breath, it's like the user sneezed. I was getting a little tired of it. So let's continue.
Ritual chamber, a final warning. Time of day, around 7 p.m. The beast growls low, its claws scraping against the stone as it eyes Kalen and Larith. Brock places a firm hand on its head, his voice calm but commanding. Easy, boy. Not yet. The beast lets out a huff but settles slightly, its glowing eyes still locked on the weakened betrayers. Mars steps forward, his gaze sharp as he addresses Kalen and Larith. We're leaving, but don't think for a second about following us. If you do, you won't like what happens next. Kalen glares at him, but her injuries keep her from rising. Larith looks away, the fire in his eyes dimmed by exhaustion and defeat. Brock shoulders his great axe, giving the pair a final glance. You're lucky we're leaving you alive. Don't waste it. With that he turns toward the exit, the beast following at his side. Mars lingers for a moment longer, his eyes narrowing. Don't let me catch you trying something like this again. Then he turns and follows Brock out of the ruined chamber. Options for Mars and Brock. 1. Search the vault for an alternate route forward. 2. Scout the area outside the vault for signs of safety or danger. 3. Discuss their next steps regarding the Emberstone's remains. What's the group's next move?
Mars and Brock conclude that this is all over. They just got to find a way out of here safely, and that the Emberstone is most likely destroyed forever. I turned off memory, so it shouldn't do anything. If it does, I'm going to facepalm. Okay, there you go. Didn't do it. That's what I was assuming.
Winding tunnels. The mission of day. Around 7:10 p.m., Mars and Brock make their way through the winding tunnels, the beast following close behind, its quiet presence offering an odd sense of comfort. The flickering embers from the destroyed chamber fade into the distance as the pair press forward. Mars speaks first, his tone steady but resigned. It's over. Whatever power the Emberstone held, it's gone now. For good or bad, that chapter's closed. Brock grunts in agreement, his hand resting on his great axe. Good riddance. That thing caused more trouble than it was worth. Now we just need to get out of this damn place in one piece. The beast sniffs the air, pausing briefly before nudging Brock forward, as if sensing the safest route. Options. 1. Follow the beast's instincts to find a safe path out. 2. Search the tunnels for any alternate exits or hidden passages. 3. Take a moment to rest and recover before continuing. What's the group's next step?
We will follow the beast instincts.
Winding tunnels, trusting the beast. Time of day. Around 7:20 p.m., Brock glances at the beast as it sniffs the air and lets out a soft growl, padding forward with deliberate steps. Looks like the big guy's got a plan, Brock mutters. Let's see where it leads us. Mars nods, his bow loosely in hand but ready. It's gotten us this far. I'll trust it for now. The beast leads the way, its glowing eyes cutting through the dim light of the tunnels. The path slopes upward, the air becoming less oppressive with each step. The faint sound of distant wind reaches their ears, a promising sign that an exit might be close. After several minutes, the tunnel opens into a wider cavern, where a faint shaft of light filters through cracks in the ceiling. The beast pauses, sniffing the air again before nudging Brock's leg and growling softly. It's leading us to fresh air, Mars says quietly, his tone relieved. We're close. Options. 1. Search the cavern for any hidden dangers or obstacles near the exit. 2. Climb toward the light to investigate the potential exit. 3. Take a moment to assess the group's condition before proceeding. What's the group's decision?
We'll search the cavern for any dangers or obstacles. It seems too easy right now. Hopefully, a little hint to the AI there. Okay.
Winding tunnels, a suspiciously easy path. Time of day, around 7:30 p.m. Mars raises a hand, signaling Brock and the beast to halt. Hold up. This feels too easy, he mutters, scanning the cavern. The faint light from above flickers as the wind whistles softly through the cracks, but the stillness of the space sets him on edge. Brock tightens his grip on his great axe, his eyes narrowing. Yeah, I don't like it either. Let's make sure nothing's waiting to jump us. Skill check Mars rolls Perception DC 14 to scan for hidden dangers. Brock rolls Survival DC 13 to check for
Okay.
traps, tracks, or other signs of danger. Let me know their rolls. If successful, the group may uncover any threats before proceeding.
16 for perception for Mars, and then a failure for Brock, 9. 16 and 9. Mars rolled a 16, Brock rolled a 9 for their respective skill checks.
Mars's perception roll Success. Mars carefully scans the cavern, his sharp eyes catching faint, almost imperceptible scratches along the walls and floor, signs of recent movement. Near the edges of the cavern, he spots faint claw marks and disturbed dust, indicating that something large had passed through recently. The light filtering from above reflects off a hidden metallic glint embedded in the rock, possibly a trap or a concealed mechanism. Brock's survival roll 9. Brock looks over the floor, but the faint tracks and subtle disturbances escape his notice. He grunts, shrugging. Looks clear to me, but if there's something, I'm ready to smash it. Mars's observation. There's something off, Mars says, pointing to the scratches and the metallic glint. Looks like something was here recently, big, and that glint over there might be a trap. We need to tread carefully. The beast growls softly, as if sensing the same unease Mars feels, its glowing eyes fixed on the far side of the cavern. Options. 1. Investigate the metallic glint, investigation DC 13. Determine if it's a trap or something valuable. 2. Take a different route, backtrack slightly and search for a safer path. 3. Press forward cautiously,
Nice.
stealth D14. Move carefully toward the exit to avoid triggering any potential dangers. What's the group's call?
Mars investigates the glint. Investigation roll of 19. Okay.
Mars's investigation roll 19. Mars crouches down, moving carefully toward the glint of metal embedded in the rock. Upon closer inspection, he realizes it's part of a pressure-activated trap, a hidden mechanism designed to trigger a cascading rockfall from above. The metallic components are cleverly concealed, but with his sharp eye, he spots the faint outline of several loosened stones overhead, ready to fall if the trap is triggered. Mars examines the mechanism further and notes that it's crude but functional, likely set by kobolds or something with a similar knack for primitive engineering. He stands and turns back to Brock, his voice low but firm. It's a trap. Step on the wrong spot, and we're buried alive. We can disarm it, or we move carefully around it. The beast huffs softly, its glowing eyes fixed on Mars as if waiting for direction. Options. 1. Disarm the trap. Sleight of hand DC 13. Neutralize the threat before continuing. 2. Move around the trap. Dexterity save DC 14. Avoid triggering it by carefully navigating the area.
I like that.
3. Trigger the trap intentionally. Use it to create a distraction or block a potential threat behind you, but risk instability. What's Mars's and Brock's next move?
Let's see. Mars offers the idea to Brock that perhaps if we move around it, we can trigger it from a distance, causing the ceiling to collapse, blocking out this path. so those other two won't follow us out.
Winding tunnels, a strategic collapse. Time of day, around 7:35 p.m. Mars gestures to the trap and the loosened stones above. If we trigger this from a safe distance, we can collapse the ceiling and block the path. It'll stop Kalen and Larith from following us, or anyone else for that matter. Brock considers the idea, nodding slowly. Smart, clears the way behind us and gives us some breathing room. Let's do it. Options to trigger the trap. 1. Shoot the trigger with an arrow. Attack roll DC 13. Mars can use his longbow to safely trigger the mechanism. 2. Use a thrown weapon or rock. Attack roll D12. Brock or Mars can use an improvised projectile to hit the trigger. Who takes the shot and how do they proceed? Let me know the roll.
I think Brock has plenty of, yeah, we have a lot of hand axes, so we might as well use one of those. Let's just roll this one for now. Nice, 21. Brock will throw one of his hand axes. Attack roll of 21, which means I have to remove that. Delete. There we go.
Brock's attack roll, 21. Success! Brock grips one of his hand axes,
Success!
gauging the distance to the trap's trigger mechanism. With a sharp exhale, he hurls the axe through the air. It spins cleanly before striking the metallic glint dead on, triggering the mechanism with a resounding clang. The effect is immediate. The loosened stones above groan and shift before cascading down in a deafening roar. Dust and debris fill the air as the tunnel behind them collapses, sealing the path completely. The beast growls softly, its ears twitching at the sound, but it remains calm at Brock's side. Mars shields his face from the dust, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. That'll do. No one's following us now. Brock retrieves his other hand axe from his belt, grinning. One less thing to worry about. Let's get out of here. Options. 1. Follow the beast further toward the exit. 2. Search the cavern for anything useful before continuing. 3. Take a moment to rest and recover after the collapse. What's the group's next move?
The team will follow the beast towards the exit, wanting to get out of this place once and for all.
Winding tunnels, the final path. Around 7:45 p.m. With the path behind them sealed, Mars and Brock follow the beast as it confidently pads forward, its glowing eyes scanning the dim tunnel ahead. The air grows fresher with each step, and the faint sound of wind through cracks in the stone becomes louder, a promising sign that the exit is near. Brock glances at Mars, his tone low but relieved. Almost out of this cursed place. Can't say I'll miss it. Mars nods, his bow loosely in hand. Not much to miss. Let's just hope the outside world's a bit quieter. The beast pauses at a fork in the tunnel, sniffing the air before choosing the left path. The slope grows steeper, and the flickering light ahead brightens with every step. The faint outlines of moss and lichen begin to appear on the walls, illuminated by what looks like natural light from outside. Options. 1. Follow the beast directly toward the light. 2. Approach cautiously, stealth DC 13. Ensure the exit is safe before fully committing. 3. Search the fork in the tunnel for any hidden threats or opportunities, perception D14. What does the group do?
We'll approach cautiously, so just stealth. Damn. Mars tells Brock and the beast we're going to approach stealthily. Roll of stealth 12. which is not good enough. Oh, I like that. Partial success. Partial success. We haven't seen that in a while.
Winding tunnels, a stealthy approach. Around 7:50 p.m., Mars gestures to Brock and the Beast, his voice low. Let's move quietly. We don't know what's waiting for us outside, and I'd rather not get caught off guard. Brock nods, though his heavy armor makes silence a challenge. The Beast lowers itself instinctively, moving with a predator's grace alongside Mars. Stealth roll 12, partial success. The group moves quietly enough to avoid outright detection, though Brock's occasional creaks and the Beast's claws scraping faintly against the stone might draw attention from any sharp-eared threats near the exit. As they approach the source of the light, Mars peers ahead, his keen eyes catching sight of a narrow opening leading to the outside world. The light filters in warmly, and the sound of the wind is stronger now, accompanied by faint rustling, perhaps from trees or brush. Options. 1. Investigate the opening. Perception D.
Okay, let's do perception. We investigate the opening. Mars does a perception roll of 6. Oh, Mars investigates the opening. Perception roll of 6. I really despise this thing sometimes. I was hoping to jump tabs too, but obviously that didn't work.
Mars's perception roll. 6. Mars leans closer to the narrow opening, squinting as he tries to make out any details beyond the faint light filtering through. The warm glow and the sound of rustling wind offer no immediate signs of danger, but the limited visibility makes it difficult to tell if the area is truly clear. Brock tightens his grip on his great axe, glancing at Mars. See anything? Mars shakes his head. Nothing obvious, but that doesn't mean it's safe. Could be clear, could be an ambush. The beast growls softly, its glowing eyes fixed on the exit as though sensing something Mars can't. Options. 1. Proceed cautiously through the exit. Enter with weapons ready, prepared for anything outside. 2. Send the beast ahead to scout. Let it test the area before.
We'll do that. Brock will send the beast ahead, telling Mars to hold up.
Winding tunnels, sending the beast. Around 8 p.m., Brock places a firm hand on the beast's head, his voice calm but commanding. All right, boy. Go check it out. See if it's safe. The beast growls softly, its glowing eyes fixed on the exit as it pads forward. Its movements are silent and calculated, its keen senses scanning for any threats as it disappears through the narrow opening. Mars stands back, his bow ready but lowered, watching intently. You trust it to know what it's doing? Brock smirks. It's got better instincts than us sometimes. If there's trouble, we'll know. The beast's action. The beast moves through the exit, sniffing the air and scanning the area. A moment later, a low rumbling growl echoes back toward the group. The sound isn't aggressive. It's more of a signal, a cautious warning that the area isn't entirely clear. Mars narrows his eyes. Something's out there. Options. Proceed with weapons ready, move through the exit carefully, prepared to face any threats.
We'll proceed with weapons drawn.
Winding tunnels, the final exit. Around 8:05 p.m., Mars and Brock exchange a glance, their weapons drawn and ready. "All right," Mars says quietly. "Let's see what's waiting for us out there." Brock nods, gripping his great axe tightly. "Stay sharp. If anything moves, we'll deal with it." The two step carefully through the narrow opening, the beast waiting just beyond. As they emerge, the scene before them becomes clear. The exit leads to a small, rocky clearing surrounded by dense forest. The light of the setting sun filters through the trees, casting long shadows across the ground. Standing near the edge of the clearing are two figures, partially obscured by the foliage. Their features are hard to make out, but their postures are tense, and the glint of steel catches the fading sunlight. One of them shifts slightly, the movement deliberate and watchful. The beast growls softly
I
at
have
their
an idea.
side, its eyes locked on the figures. Options. 1. Call out to the figures, persuasion DC 13. Attempt to establish contact and determine their intentions. 2. Prepare for combat. Assume they're hostile and act accordingly. 3.
Okay, this is perfect. So, it turns out that these two figures are other adventurers who work with Thalen and Kalen's team. I'll let you decide on how they react, if they were not aware with us being on the team or they are part of the whole scam, and play it cool for now, asking where are the others while we walked out first. This is perfect. I'm glad it threw in those two NPCs, whoever they are. It looks like it's almost not, or it is nighttime. At least it's dusk.
Clearing outside the vault. Time of day, around 8:10 p.m. As Mars and Brock step fully into the clearing, the two figures turn toward them. One is a lean human woman with a crossbow slung over her shoulder, her piercing gaze locking onto the group immediately. The other, a broad-shouldered half-orc with a massive sword strapped to his back, steps forward slightly, his posture relaxed but ready. The woman smirks faintly. "Well, well, you're out first. Where's Kalen and the others? Thought you were all working together on this little expedition." Her tone is casual, but there's a sharpness to her words, her eyes briefly flicking to the beast at Brock's side. The half-orc crosses his arms, his voice gruff but measured. "They still inside, or are we waiting for a reason?" Mars catches a subtle tension in their posture, the kind that comes from someone trying to play it cool. Whether they're in on the betrayal or just in the dark remains unclear, but their watchful gazes suggest they're testing the waters. Options for Mars and Brock. 1. Play along, deception DC 13, pretend everything is fine and deflect their questions. 2. Be direct, persuasion DC 14, warn them about Kalen's betrayal and test their reaction.
Ooh, that's a good one.
3. Prepare for combat. Assume they're part of the betrayal and strike first. What's the group's call?
Persuasion's not his strong suit, and I don't think it is for Brock either. Oh, he does. Okay, so Brock will take a piece here. 10, not good enough. Okay. Brock attempts to be direct with persuasion, roll of 10, which is not good enough. Which means they'll most likely be part of the scam. That they were there, posted there, in case things go south for the whole gig.
Clearing outside the vault, the conversation turns. Time of day, around 8:15 p.m. Brock steps forward, his grip firm on his great axe as he fixes the two adventurers with a hard look. "Kalen's still in there. Let's just say things didn't exactly go as planned. She and her crew had their own agenda, and it wasn't working with us." The woman's smirk fades slightly, replaced by a raised brow. "What are you saying exactly? That there's trouble down there?" Her tone stays casual, but her fingers twitch near her crossbow. The half-orc tilts his head, his expression unreadable. "Kalen said she'd handle the job with her team. You're saying that didn't happen?" Brock narrows his eyes, but the tension in his voice gives away his frustration. Let's just say you'll want to ask her yourself, if she makes it out. The woman exchanges a glance with the half-orc. For a brief moment, their expressions betray a flicker of uncertainty. But it's impossible to tell whether they're feigning ignorance or genuinely unaware of the betrayal. The reaction. The woman takes a step back, her smirk returning faintly. Well, that's unfortunate. Guess we'll just have to wait and see who makes it out. The half-orc remains still, his arms crossed. You seem pretty sure of yourselves for walking out first. Guess we'll see how this plays out. Their neutral responses make their true intentions unclear, but their body language suggests they're keeping their guard up. Options. 1. Press them further, Insight DC 13. Test their reactions to determine if they're truly unaware of the betrayal. 2. Leave the area, avoid further confrontation and move towards safety. 3. Prepare for a potential fight. Stay on guard and ready to act if they show hostility. What's the group's next move?
Mars will press them further. Insight roll critical +4. Press them inside. Here, go inside. Okay, perfect. Critical. Pushes them down the hall. Hopefully, he knew I said insight. Okay, I figured.
Mars's insight roll, 24. Mars narrows his eyes, studying the two adventurers with unflinching precision. Every twitch of their hands, shift in posture, and flicker of emotion across their faces tells him exactly what he needs to know. The woman's smirk doesn't reach her eyes, which dart briefly toward the half-orc as though seeking reassurance. Her overly casual tone masks a deeper unease. She's lying. She knows more than she's letting on. The half-orc, meanwhile, avoids meeting Mars's gaze, his stiff stance betraying guilt rather than ignorance. These two are part of Kalen's scheme, likely waiting to clean up loose ends or secure whatever remains of the mission. Their feigned detachment is a cover, but Mars sees through it entirely. Mars's revelation. Mars steps forward, his voice sharp and unyielding. Cut the act. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Kalen didn't plan for us to make it out of there, did she? And you were here to make sure no one else got in or out. Isn't that right? The woman stiffens, her smirk vanishing entirely. The half-orc growls, shifting his stance. Careful, elf, he says darkly. You don't want to make accusations you can't back up. Brock shifts his grip on his great axe, his voice low and dangerous. Mars doesn't need to. Your faces already gave it away. The tension mounts.
Hmm.
The two adventurers exchange a final glance, their postures shifting from feigned nonchalance to open hostility. It's clear that any further discussion will end in violence. Options for Mars and Brock. 1. Strike first. Take advantage of their hesitation and launch a preemptive attack. 2. Let them make the first move. Stay defensive and prepare to counter when they act. 3.
I'll try to talk my way out of, or talk to them. So maybe intimidation. Let's try Brock. I'm surprised he doesn't have more than that. Oh, wow. Okay. 18 intimidation. Brock uses intimidation. He details what happened in there and all the great kills he had, including lying about the shadowy creature, the death of all the kobolds on his weapon, etc., and what happened to the others. I say lying about the shadowy creature because he was enveloped in that whole thing. He didn't succeed in breaking out that mind freak. Man, okay. I was hoping for
Clearing
the.
outside the vault, Brock's intimidation time of day, around 8:20 p.m. Brock steps forward, towering over the pair with his great AXE resting heavily on his shoulder. His voice is low and menacing, dripping with confidence. You two think you're up for this? Let me tell you what's waiting for you down there. Kaylin and her little team. Barely holding on after we tore through their plans. The Emberstone. Gone, shattered into nothing. He gestures to his great AXE, flecks of dried blood still visible on the blade. This weapon took out every damn kobold that tried to stop us. And that's not all. There was a shadow down there, some twisted thing that nearly had us ripping each other apart. It consumed your cultist friend's whole. The beast at Brock's side growls on cue, its glowing eyes locked on the pair. And this. It's not just some animal. It's been through hell with me, and it's hungry for more. So go ahead, try me. But if you step out of line, you'll end up like the rest of them, broken, bleeding, and forgotten. Intimidation roll, result. Auto success due to roleplay impact. The woman flinches, her earlier confidence crumbling as she instinctively takes a step back. All right. No need to get all dramatic. We're not looking for a fight. The half-orc tightens his grip on his sword but doesn't step forward. We're just here to see how it plays out. If Kaylin's still alive, she'll sort this out. But we're not crossing you. Status: the two adventurers remain in place, cowed but not entirely friendly. They don't appear eager to fight but also aren't offering to leave outright. Options: force them to leave the
Okay. I think we'll close now. We'll close for now, obviously. It's not entirely over. This whole quest is not entirely over, but we definitely have gotten. This was a very intriguing twist that I wanted to try. But let's do a session closing. Okay, let's close this session for now. Let's see what XP we get. I'm guessing we probably will get more than usual, perhaps, or probably not. We'll see. Each character is about halfway. All right, so just the re session highlights. Sure. And then XP, so Mars gets 100. It looks like, oh, Mars actually gets more this time. So it gets 100. Fly, almost to level 3. Brock gets 75, 125. I'm sorry, Brock gets more this time. 125 was it? Yep. Fly, perfect. Okay, so that's it for this episode. I think it's episode 8, 9. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.